Hey guys, Ron the Nut here. Well, this is the next video in my Monsta STH10 build, and one of the things that I have been waiting for is for EK to come out with the water block for the chipset, either the mono block or the chipset block for the Rampage Extreme 5. But it's not out yet. It's still going to be a couple of weeks, so instead of waiting any longer for that, I went ahead and did a bunch of testing and actually got the OS loaded and everything, and actually started loading some programs. So everything's working fine with the motherboard and the memory. Now what I'm going to do is actually outfit the motherboard into the STH10 so that I can install the power supply and start getting cable lengths. I actually have somebody that's going to do cables for me for this setup, and I originally was going to go with maybe 2 AX1200s that I have, but I actually changed my mind, and for power I'm going to go with this awesome new Corsair AX1500i. It's definitely overkill for the for the things that I'm going to need power for, but it's going to be the power supply is going to have to last me a long time. Plus this guy has a 7-year warranty, so I think it's going to be just fine. Plus, you know what, most of what is in the system anyway, it could be considered overkill, so what the hell. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is mount the motherboard onto the tray and mount install the video cards and then install the power supply and get some dimensions. So I'm not going to take you, I'll take you through some of it, but basically I'm going to set it up to have a good look at where power is going to be. And one of the things that I wasn't sure of, but I think I've settled now, is originally the two power supplies I was going to split, maybe one at the top and one at the bottom when I was going to go with the 2 X1200s, but I'm just going to go with that one 1500i, and I'm going to mount it in the top and have the radiators in the bottom. And the main reason for that is because the radiators are so long that if I mounted any of them up in the top, I won't have room for my 5 1/4 inch devices. I have a DVD-ROM that I'm going to install in there, and I might install one of the bays for hard drives for the SSDs, but at a minimum I'm going to have the DVD in there, so I need to have space. So I'm going to have both radiators mounted down here in the bottom, and I'll show you that when I go to mount them. So that's the plan right now, going with a 1500i inside of this Monsta, and I'm going to go ahead and take out the motherboard and the video cards and get them all propped up in here so I can start taking measurements for some custom cabling. Alright, well, now it's about time to start actually mounting some stuff into the case. I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. I'm going to start mounting the radiators with their fans, and then start moving my way up the case. And one of the things that I have to do is I have to change the color scheme to my case. Originally I was going to use blue LED fans on the radiators, but since I have the Rampage 5 Extreme now and not the Rampage 4 Black Edition, that was just basically black with some silver accents, so it really left me open to using whatever colors I want. But with the Rampage 5 Extreme, I've got some red in there. So I'm going to change up my color scheme on my fans. I do want some LED fans in there, and I think I'm going to go with some white ones. So I do have some white ones here. These are also Bitphoenix Spectre Pros. So I'm going to look at maybe using these, and I like the feature of being able to switch the LEDs on and off. That's one of the things I like a lot about these fans, and they do great, and they're low-speed fans, so they work well with these radiators, the Black Ice Nemesis 360 and 480 GTXs that I'm going to use. Now I do have a bunch of these blue ones here, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those for now. But the other thing that I considered as far as fans are concerned is these Treework fans. They don't make these anymore, but they're awesome fans. They are thicker. They're basically 55 millimeter fans, So what I think I'm going to do is I use them in my original STH10 build, and I'm going to use them on the back radiator. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to put up here in the front or this side. I'm going to mount one right here and then mount the other in the back, and I'm going to have the airflow blowing through the case, so from this side, the reverse side, out to the other side. So I'm going to use those fans for the one in the radiator in the back. I think that's what I'm going to do. So this side will be lit up by LED fans, and again, I think I'm going to go with these BitPhoenix ones. So I might change my mind. As we go through this, if I do, I will show you. And of course, one of the things that I need to do is with these black ice, they're new. I haven't used them. I mean, I did use them in a review, but I need to flush out the radiators to make sure that there's no debris from the manufacturing process or anything in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to break open these radiators and flush them out. And we'll get started assembly and putting them in the bottom of the case. Alright, so right now on the setup I have the 360 being flushed. Again, that's nothing more inside of that bucket is a pond pump that's taking the distilled water out into the rad and out of the rad into that filter. That's a regular home or under sink faucet filtration system, and then back into the bucket. So again, the idea is just to capture any kind of debris or crap that's in that radiator at all and capture it through that filter there. So that's all going on there. Inside here is the pump and the return. So I'll let it go for about 20 minutes or so and make sure all's good, and then I'll do it with the 480, and then we'll move on to getting her mounted, or getting them mounted into the case. Alright, just received some more of the white Spectra Pro LED fans, and I'm going to go ahead and mount them on the Nemesis 480 GTX radiator, and then I can go ahead and get them positioned and look to deal with some of the cable management from the Rads down at the base of the STH10. Alright, I've got the BitPhoenix Spectra Pro white LED fans mounted onto the Rads and onto the radiator bracket to mount in the bottom of the STH10. And right now just testing to make sure the fans are good, all the LEDs are good, and I have the same kind of setup set over here. Now these are ModSmart PCBs that have 4 3-pin headers on them, and also 4 2-pin headers for the LEDs. And my plan was I'm going to run the fans through the Aquaro, so that's going to be done that way. But for testing, I'm just using the PCB to check it out, make sure it's good. And I also have I tested the LED control to here, and my plan was to hook up a switch that all this PCB would do was just control the LED fans. But I guess based on the way this circuit board is designed and whatever this resistor does, it does not provide enough power to power all of the LEDs. I can only get one up, so so I'm not going to be able to use this. So I'm going to have to research another LED control plan if I'm going to control the LEDs. Right now, once you turn on the fans LEDs are on permanently. So, but I would like to be able to turn them off if I want to. So I got to research that some more, but right now I'm going to get these cables all dressed up and arrange to get the right length on my splitter so that I can bring this up to the Aquaro where it's going to be mounted in the case. So let me do that. Probably going to tuck some of these things out of the way so they're a little nice and neater, and get them mounted in the case. And I'll show you that here in a second. Alright, so I have the bottom of one of the 480s dressed up. I have the cables down out of the way. It'll be mounted facing down so you won't see that, and it's in the bottom compartment. And I also have it connected up with a quad radiator extension cable. Now, one of the things before I do this one, I wanted to show you, this is a traditional quad cable for your fans. Takes you 4, splits 4 of them into one. So I'm going into my Aquaro, and you'll notice here on this particular one, it has some sleeving. It's not bad, but all of the 4 extensions here are all the same length. So what that means is you got to do a lot of work with your fan cables down here. You have to actually, double them up. Now, I did have to double up a little bit right here, but that's because I was able to use, this is a new splitter that I got from Darkside. They make a lot of LEDs and also a lot of specialty cables. And one of the things that I really like about this cable is the splitter. So I'll show you. It has the connection points for each of the fans staggered. Now this one is for a quad radiator, so basically the furthest one you'd be able to connect to, and then the next one connects to the next longest one, and so on. And then what it does, it minimizes the additional cable clutter that you get. I just have this little bundle right here as opposed to a mass, because these are all going to come in at one point, and I got to fold everything up out of the way. So this is, I really like this. I enjoyed being able to put it together and use it on this one. I'm going to do the same thing on this rad right now. So I'll show you what that looks like once it's done, but basically it'll come out like this. Cables are done, and then this is going to run through the back side of the case, and hopefully it'll reach to where I plan to put the Aquaro. If not, I'll have another extension that'll take it to the Aquaro. So this is just a little better cable management, I think, using one that has the splitters for the fans staggered. All right, guys, now it's time to decide on which reservoir pump setup I'm going to use. On the left here, we have an older generation, the X2 Res based reservoir, and a dual top. Remember, this system is going to be a dual loop system, so this has got a dual top 4-2 loops, and it's pretty compact, and I really liked it. And then on the right, I have the X3, so that's the newer, I think the newest generation of reservoirs, and the pump tops associated with that, along with a cover kit too. So again, kind of an older generation but unique, and a newer one, and we'll let's take a look at each of them and see which will look better in this build. All right, so what I'm looking at here first is the EK D5 dual top 2 loops. This is the top for 2 pumps, and basically what you receive in it is the top shows your inlets here, 2 different inlets, inlet 1, inlet 2, and then your outlets, all on this one acetyl block. All right, and then here is the mounting piece that allows you to mount the pumps in here, and I'm going to go ahead and put it together. You also get a couple of heavy base plates, and then O-rings, and then miscellaneous mounting hardware along with an Allen wrench to put it together. So I'm going to go ahead and put this together now, so we'll see what it looks like finished, and so I have a better idea what it looks like in the system. Now, for those of you who may be new to using D5 pumps in their water cooling setup, here is one. There are many different manufacturers. Swift-Tech makes them, and this one happens to be a Coolants model PMP 450. And so basically you can get them. What they do, they look like this in that packaging, which is a full pump top with the kind of the industrial pump look with the bracketry and all that. And if you're actually going to use it in a PC setup, it's not the prettiest looking thing if you're going to hide it, but you also would need to get adapters. This is designed for, right now this top is designed for tubing and using clamps to hold them on there. So if you're going to use these, I highly recommend going for some kind of nice clean top. Those of you who are watching my video probably already knew that, but anyway, so this is what it looks like out of the box that I just showed you. And once you take apart all of the pieces on here, what you really need for this setup is just the pump. Now, I do have the O-ring that came with it, but there are O-rings that come with this top, so I'm taking that off. So here you have it. This is the pump. Now, this is a variable pump, so it does have settings on the back to adjust the speed all from 1 up to 5. All right. And so what I'm going to do is remove this guy here so we can take both pumps. And that's how easy it is to remove that. Bring your cables through, and basically we have your pump, another brand new one right out of it. Now these D5s, I think they're all made in the same factory, I believe. So these are all, they're just branded differently depending on who you buy them from. So again, you have, now here's right here, it's a Lang Thermotech model D5T Vario, and then on the side they branded it with the Coolants branding. So I have 2 of them here, and what I'm going to do now is go ahead and mount this inside of this top so we can see what the finished looks like. I may fast forward this so you don't have to watch the whole thing. Okay, so here is the top assembled with the pumps. Basically, I didn't put all of the screws in, but you get the idea. You secure them in there, the O-rings are in, and it has the pumps mounted to the bottom. There are these plates right here. I mounted them like this, but basically you could flip these around so the plates are coming down here, and the pump would sit like this. Now this only works obviously if you're going to have fittings here and have tubes coming in from your reservoir, and just treat this only as a pump top, not using reservoirs on top of it, which I intend to do. So mounting it in this orientation for my plans is not going to be, you know, that's not going to do it. But that is a way that you can mount this pump setup. So what I did is I just put them here because one way to mount this inside my case is to use these brackets. There are 4 holes in the back, 2 for each of these plates, and so there is a way that I can mount it, because with these cables hanging down, there are no finishing caps at the bottom here to put over this to sit it flat like that, so it will have to be suspended. Now these brackets right here allow you to mount some anti-vibration bushings, and it's designed to be mounted inside of a 5 1/4 inch bay space. So you could mount this inside of a 5 1/4 inch bay space. But again, depending on your case, you know, if you're going to use tall reservoirs like I plan to use, that's not going to cut it, because you're going to eat up a lot of bay space. But that is an option. Or you can have smaller res tops on the top here that allow you to put it in a bay. So, but again, for my idea is to mount it in the open space in the case, and I'll show you that. Let's get the a reservoir, or the reservoirs on it. And so that's kind of where these pieces come in. So here we have a EK multi-option X2 res. That's what we got right here. And they come with a multi-port cap at the top. So you see there's 2, and you can use this as an inlet or outlet. They also have a tube, so that typically would be in the top, and then you have, you know, your ports however you want to use them, but you can do it any way you want. Now my idea was to, let's see if I can get this off. Alright, well, we'll just do this right now. My idea is to have a 250 res mounted right on top of here, but as you can see, the threads are on the inside of this reservoir, and they don't fit this. So that's where these EK multi-option Res 2 links come into play. And we'll go ahead and just mount this right now. So what they're designed to do is to screw into the tops here. And they have their O-ring and everything and seated inside of here. And then what you do is you take your reservoir and you screw it on to here. So here we have one mounted. And these reservoirs also come with, you know, mounting brackets. So mounting them inside the case, suspending them is provided. All right. Okay. So we have it. Here is the assembly as it's intended to be used with these adapters on this block. So now let's take a look at the space in the case and see how it looks. So one option for using this reservoir pump top setup is to have this mounted right here. I mean, basically that's where the dual loop reservoirs are going to go in either solution, but right there is where this would be. So it's not bad, but the one thing I don't like is that I'd have to either cover this up in some way or make those all black. I don't like the unfinished pump look. Now these cables are going to be sleeved, so that's not an issue, but basically that's one positioning setup for this reservoir pump top option. So take a look at that. I have to drill some holes in that panel there in order to mount this. So that is one reservoir pump top option. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Okay, now let's have a look at the EK-D5 X-Res top. Now this is the 100 CSQ, which means that it has a reservoir with it, but that's not the one that I'm going to use. So here is the top that we have here, and then this is a pump combo D5X res top, and you see here it's got a couple of ports. Here's inlet, I believe. You can use them actually in any way you want to use them. And then you have where the pump mounts to the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this one here. So I'm going to remove this res. We're not using this res. And just so I don't damage this, while I do this, I'm going to take out the anti-cyclone device. All right. And let me get out the other pieces and I'll show you how it goes together. So here we have the EK-D5 X-Res top, 100 CSQ, and we have an EK-D5 cover kit, and this is the nickel. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble these together with an X3 250mm res. We have a bracket assembly to mount it with, which we're going to need. We're not going to use this mating top because the cover kit has its own, but we do have screws, nuts, and bolts, and we need to remove the top itself. And we're not going to use this small 100 res. We are going to remove the cyclone bracket for now so we don't damage it. Alright, first things we're going to do is flip it over, and we're going to get the washer or the O-ring for the pump. And then place it into the pump top. And what we're going to do is take the cover kit top, and you'll have the two port holes in the bottom there. One is for the cabling, the other one is for the adjustment dial. You will have to remove the connectors from the wires, RPM and power. And it's best to pull it all straight before you lower it down onto the pump. Put the pump upside down into the cavity. Then we take the cover, the mating bracket from the EKD5 cover kit. That's the one that came with this, not the one that came with the original pump setup. And then we just push it through the cabling, and we then secure it with mounting screws. Now I'm just going to tack it down because I need to sleeve these, so I'm not securing it 100% yet. We're going to open up the mounting bracket. EK uni holder for a D5 is what it's called. Right now, I'm going to mount it like this. So what I need are the anti-vibration mounts to go on each corner. Basically a threaded standoff with neoprene. Have the standoffs all on there. Now right now I'm just going to orient the bracket so it's towards the back, away from the CSQ design on the front. And then actually the proper way to mount these is with a nylon washer. Alright, so we have the pump and the cover, and actually one of the things to note is when you mount it you have to have that oriented in the right way. Now I've got to take it apart to sleeve this anyway, but I have the other one set right, just so keep that in mind when you're putting these together and don't do what I just did. But again, this is just a mock-up. So now let's see, add the reservoir to the top of this. Okay, we have the 250 mil top. There's already an O-ring in the pump top, so all I need to do is and there we have 250 mil reservoir on the pump combo D5X Res CSQ with a EKD5 cover kit in the nickel. And so we have two here. And let's see what they look like in the STH10. See if we can get an idea of placement and how they compare to the other option. Okay, well, this is going to be kind of hard to do, but I'm trying not to get my fat self in this shot so much, but already you can take a look and see how much cleaner this design is. Again, mainly because the covers over the pump, are not showing the coolant's label on there. And again, I could have modded something, but also these brackets are really nice as well. And I love that they have the anti-vibration property. So when I do mount them to the case, any vibration that comes through the pump is going to be absorbed by those guys. So let's see if I can do my best to hold them up. They'll be mounted right about here. So I've got to get the placement right. This is where they'll be. Now it does have the CAQ logo, but because I have the hard acrylic tubing and actually the pump, this is right here, the out of the pump, and these guys, that's in, and then on this side we have the in. I'm actually going to mount them like this. So I will have either a return coming back down at the bottom there, but I will be using the out on these and then running the acrylic tubing down into the radiators first. So this is the way they're going to be mounted. I've got to adjust the brackets, and I don't know, I think that looks good. I think that looks much better than the other setup. Although I like the other setup, but I think I'm going to use that in a probably more compact case, because that does put the, the reses right next to each other and it saves some space. This here, I think it's got a nicer finish and it's going to look better. So yeah, I think this is the way we're going to go. So let me get things cleaned up, get these sleeves, these cables all sleeved, and then start marking and making mounting points for the brackets to mount them there. And we have them assembled fully and cable sleeved. So here's just a quicker shot still of me holding the X2 base dual loop, and here's the X3s. I think that looks much better. Alright, so we have the reservoirs now completed with those cables, and they're just sitting on the brackets right now, but the brackets are installed. We've got both of the radiators outfitted with the Spectre Pro fans, the white LED fans, and all of the cabling ready to go for those. I even put some fittings and temperature sensors for the coolant temp. That's going to be the out of the rad, and there's actually one on this side too for the other loop. There's a shot inside here, and actually in this space in the front of the STH10 is where I'm going to put the Aquaro. I'm going to mount the Aquaro down here, so I have access to all the fan cables. We've got the pump cables, the temperature sensors. I think that's going to be the best spot for it, to keep it all local down there. And then really what's up after this is to get the motherboard blocks mounted and the GPU blocks mounted, and get the acrylic tubing all laid out into the two loops. Well, that's just about it for this log. I hope you like the build as it's coming along. If you did, please like and favorite, and if you're so inclined, please subscribe. That's it from Ron's a Nut. Thanks for watching.